Go for it.
DB's passing out some holiday gifts.
Yeah, all the stuff that I usually give the kid.
How's the food, Tup? Is it
really,
gone already?
Pretty good.
It must be, because Kent Brown's not up here anymore, and if he's already hightailed it.
He had food.
Oh, he did?
He had
Okay.
food and left.
All right. Yeah,
He's
left.
gone to the basketball game.
Yeah, Kent. Obviously, good to be back from the holidays. Got everybody back. Guys had the chance, obviously, mentally, physically, to get refreshed. Be the last time they get 3+ days in a row off until the spring. So I think they really relish that, enjoy that, and from what I can gather from talking to all of them, they really had a great time at home, seeing family and friends. Came back. We've had 3 days now to prepare for the Michigan game tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And you know, obviously, we have great respect for them. I'm really always been impressed with their offense for years, dating back to when we played them at Ohio. But you know, in my opinion, watching them, it may be as good a shooting team as they put on the floor. They shoot the three at 4 positions. They have multiple guys that make shots, both that start for them and come off the bench. They're in real synchronization right now on offense. As you watch them, you can see they've continued to get better throughout their 13 games. Certainly be a challenge at that end of the floor for sure. And you know, obviously they've won, I believe it's 8 of 9, so they're playing good basketball. You know, for us, I thought, you know, coming off of the Missouri game, the thing that stood out to me the most was our defensive efficiency and our man, which has really improved a great deal. I think our younger guys are getting better. They certainly haven't arrived yet at that end, but they're starting to understand concepts a little bit more. They'll really be challenged tomorrow at 2 o'clock for sure. You know, they're very good at picking on guys, and tomorrow our guys got to be certainly on their P's and Q's and ready to go. So I know DB also handed out our official announcement of Kipper Nichols, who joined us and came in town yesterday. He's practiced yesterday and today, and boy, we're glad to have him now and have our entire team. He's really a great student, great person, and offers just a lot of versatility as a player with his size, his strength, his body. I mean, he's got a man's body at 18, 19 years old. He's very versatile. He plays versatile both offensively and defensively. He can guard multiple positions defensively. He can play multiple positions offensively. Oh, guys like that, they're always offer just a tremendous value to your team. But the thing that's impressed me the last 2 days is just how well he's fit in. He's just knew he's a great kid, but I think he fits right in line with the character that we have in our locker room and with our team this year. And I know he's awful excited to be here, so we're awful glad to welcome him. Questions?
Have you ever had a mid-year guy like that, and what's that dynamic like?
I've had mid-year guys. I've had mid-year guys that have been eligible right away. Obviously, he's not eligible this semester, but I think the biggest thing for him is his ability, obviously, as a freshman to fit in, but our guys' ability as well to connect with him and make him feel welcome. It's a two-way street. I'm confident our guys are going to do that. We had a great visit when he came on his official visit. I think certainly our players, our staff felt a real connection to him. I think obviously the feeling was mutual, and it's a big reason why he's here is because of the people. So, we're excited to have him, and obviously he doesn't know. As he and I were talking after practice today quickly, every set play that we run or terminology, he doesn't have that down yet, but who would? He's been here for 2 days. But he's a quick learner, and you could tell that from he was on the scout team the last couple of days in preparation for Michigan. He picked stuff up quick and has a great heart, great mind, and I know he's excited to get here and get to work.
And Malcolm, the first thing he said about Kipper was, Jimmy Butler 2.0. I mean, does he have that kind of maybe offensive, defensive combo skill set?
Well, he's versatile at both ends of the floor for sure. He's a guy who can score, pass, dribble, defend, has good hands. He can think. He comes from a winning program. Played for great high school and AAU programs. His high school coach is a guy I've known for a long time, very well respected, great coach. Won a state championship. He knows what winning looks like. Just has really good feel for the game, can really think the game, and is versatile, and he's a winner on and off the court. So for us, as I've said to you guys, as I continue to do this more and more and get older, those things become even more and more valuable to me. the fit piece, and he is just a great fit.
What experience do you have with the MUmps?
Not very much, I don't, I don't personally have any, thank goodness, all my, I've taken all my vaccinations stuff, so I'm good there.
Have you got a player with MUmps that?
We have a player who has an illness, and obviously recovering from that, and I'm not an expert certainly with all that stuff. That's Schmitty and the doctor's area of expertise, but we'll see how that goes. Obviously, he's day to day at this point.
Does Michigan compare at all to any other teams you've played this year in their style?
It's a great question. Yes and no. Yes, from the standpoint of you think of a team like Iowa State, who plays small, very well respected nationally on the offensive end, multiple shooters, ball handlers, say a lot of pick and rolls, very, very difficult to defend. So we got, to see that firsthand. I think Michigan has some of those characteristics, but at the same time, their offense is also different than Iowa State's. But do they play, what some people would call small ball or four-guard lineup, very similar to Iowa State? Yes, I think what makes Iowa State unique, obviously, is Niang. They can play him at 4 and 5, which makes him very difficult to defend. But, we played really good teams, really good point guards, really good offenses. I think I've been very firm with stating very accurately that it's by far the best non-conference schedule we played in my 4 years, top to bottom. When you look at the cumulative all 13 games, who we played, the styles we played, where we played them, and not getting home till December, and it's challenging. And our hope is that it's prepared, in particular, our young guys who have played a little bit more due to some injuries, maybe a little bit faster than would have happened otherwise.
Duncan Robinson's his three-point numbers just jump off the page. It's
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You have to do a double take.
Yeah. Who is this kid?
Well, he's a Division III transfer. Certainly give them credit. I don't know the ins and outs of his recruitment. Obviously, they would, but what I do know is that he's a really good player. He's got great size. He has a quick release, and obviously, you look at those numbers. What Tubbs talking about, some 60% three-point shooting on 79 attempts through 13 games. I mean, I can't recall ever seeing that on that many attempts, 13 games into a season, that percentage that high from three. I don't know if I've ever seen that. And they have a lot of guys that can shoot the ball well, as we know, but that's an exceptional, almost unheard of percentage.
Last year you played Michigan, with Karis LeVert and Derek Walton, and then without those two guys.
Sure.
They're both healthy now. What kind of difference do they make?
Well, obviously they make a big difference for them. I mean, it's no different when you go through. I thought certainly last year when you looked at it, I thought it was, you looked at the Big Ten, 14 teams, you could certainly make the case that us in Michigan probably incurred the most injuries, most games lost by players. So they went through that last year a little bit, and I think some guys, certainly a guy like Dawkins was able to really emerge, as well as some others. And now they got those two back. I think both guys are elite level players. Both guys can score it. Both guys can make others better. And they're very, very experienced within their system, and they're really, really good basketball players.
Back on Kipper, can he play against Missouri next year? Would that be about the time that he would be eligible?
Yeah, we're not sure yet because we're in the process of that. I would say this, Lauren. I would say that would be about the latest that he would be eligible to play, which is a good thing. Now, what happens between now and then with all the different things that from a waiver standpoint and all that with his situation, certainly the NCAA will make that decision ultimately, but that would be the worst case scenario.
Would you appeal that he be eligible at the start of the season? Would that be an appeal that you would make?
Yeah, we'll work on that. I think he has a good case, but at the end of the day, that's the NCAA's decision.
Okay.
Any new news on Moran?
No, those guys are the same, just out indefinitely. I do think soreness and swelling from the Ranas went down a little bit, which is good, but we're still not where it needs to be yet. So he's still out indefinitely.
What's the mindset of the team with Michigan being the Big Ten opener, are they looking at it as another game, or is there a get up for this a little bit more, especially with the hard non-conference schedule?
Yeah, I just think it's an exciting time of year. You know, certainly I would expect that for all the teams in our league to feel that way. We're in a great league with great coaches and great players, with great exposure. I mean, this is big time stuff. You know, as I tell them, this isn't bitty ball. You know, this is the big time, and so our guys are excited. I'm sure their guys are excited. You know, obviously it's a little bit like we call it our second season, you know, fresh start a little bit, but I'm sure they're viewing it the same way. And you know, I certainly anticipate our guys being excited to play tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
How have they gone about playing without Spike, Joe?
Well, obviously Walton has been back, as Scott mentioned, and you know, they do a lot of, you know, Levert is a playmaker for them as well. You know, is he technically their point guard? You certainly can watch clips and watch offense where he looks like he is, you know, and then obviously Walton has that skill set himself, and then Rockman plays it a little bit also. So, and Rockman was great against us, as we all know, last year in Chicago when we played him, and he's got experience. He's one of those guys a little bit like Dawkins, I think, that maybe got extra experience like some of our guys are doing right now at a young age because of some injuries they had last year. You know, so they've got experienced players. They've got multiple shooters, passers, dribblers. They execute their offense very, very well. You know, and then defensively they mix it up, and they're good at that as well. So it'll be a great challenge for us.
I think Malcolm mentioned after the Mizzou game that maybe some unfinished business against Michigan, you know, following that Big Ten tournament loss. How do the teams compare, you know, from that point in March to, you know, kind of the new group?
Totally different, obviously. I mean, we've got, you know, basically Hill and Nunn and Tate, Morgan. So we got, you know, 3 or 4 guys that even played in that game last year. Finke didn't play in the game. The freshman didn't play in the game. Lewis didn't play in the game. I mean, those guys didn't play in the game. So we're different. They're different. You already mentioned earlier. You know, Walton and Levert didn't play in that game. You know, they're playing. You know, they got the kid Wagner who's playing. DJ Wilson's playing. It's just it's different. It's a different year. It doesn't do us any good to look in the rearview mirror. And what we need to do is look forward. And you know, obviously we're excited about, you know, the game tomorrow at 2 o'clock. But you know, I mean, I understand Malcolm's perspective. He's an older guy, and you know, he obviously has some pride. But at the end of the day, like for us right now, it's about executing our game plan and playing well tomorrow at 2 o'clock. You know, that other game has nothing to do with it. Questions from the phone lines?
Josh, this is Shannon. I wanted to clarify some things I couldn't really hear. You said someone has MUmps. Who's that?
No comment.
Like me?
No comment.
Oh, okay. And Nichols, you said the worst case scenario for him joining the team is what was that?
Well, Lauren's question, Shannon, was, you know, yeah, that's okay. You know, worst case scenario would be next, I guess would be next spring semester.
Right.
So spring semester sit out here in 2016, and a fall semester 2016 sit out in hopes that spring semester, which technically, as Lauren knows and asked, which is why I asked the question, I'm assuming, you know, guy becomes eligible as soon as the fall semester is completed. So that is worst case scenario. You know, could we get him sooner? It's certainly possible. We think he has a good case in a very unique and rare circumstance, but again, ultimately that'll be up to the NCAA.
You've talked a lot about defense this year, and obviously it seems like the team's made some significant strides in that area. What things has clicked, and what's changed for them that's kind of come together better?
Just experience. You know, they have always cared. They just, you know, we have a saying, in pressure situations, your habits take over, and their habits weren't good enough. Now their habits are getting better. You know, but they're going to be tested tomorrow at 2 o'clock. You know, offensively, you know, I was asked earlier about a comparison. I mean, we've certainly played, you know, some teams with very good offenses, not only this year but over the years. But if you ask me to name one team that I think's been challenging to defend, not only for us, but certainly for everybody, you look at their numbers, Michigan's probably the team that comes to mind. So we'll see how good these Hatmans are tomorrow, Shannon.
And sorry to go back to this, but I'm a little confused. So I don't know what you can say or not saying or why, but so there's a player who's unavailable because of an illness. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. He's unavailable, it's a day-to-day deal. Yeah,
Why can't you say who that is?
because I'm choosing not to at this point.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
One more on Kipper. Did he attend classes at Tulane?
That's obviously diving into what I'm talking about is the unique situation. For a couple days,
Just a couple days.
yeah. So it's unique, and but again, we'll do all we can to try to get him eligible as quickly as possible. But ultimately, we don't make that decision.
Anything else?
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.